Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're going to be talking release news. Now, I plan on doing this all in one take, so it's going to be a bit rough around the edges, but there's quite a bit of news of things coming out and things moving around, so I thought now would be a good time to put out a little video on it, as you seem to like it. So, obviously, this week we had the Shizuoka hobby show in Japan, if that's how you pronounce it, Shizuoka, I guess. We'll go with it. And the main ones obviously were going to be Kyosho and Tamiya, and we were itching to see whether there were going to be anything new. Now, normally at this show, we don't see a massive amount of releases. Obviously, we get a lot of them early on in the year, and then around the August, September time, we get the stuff coming for Christmas. But it was really interesting to see. Kind of hoping that Tamiya maybe would drop something a bit more exciting in after, you know, what's been quite a lackluster year basically, or a couple of years now. But yeah, I'll go through what they've actually brought out. A lot of the stuff that's actually we've already seen at a previous show, so just a little bit of an update on that, as in prices and when they're coming, and then obviously Kyosho as well. So the first thing Tamiya did tended to be more of a military kind of release, as they've gone and updated, and they're going to release a couple of tanks. Now, the first one is the M4 Sherman. Now, this has been released by Tamiya for quite a while. I am no Tamiya tank or truck expert at all, so that's not really my field. I've got one. I've got an old King Tiger over there, which I absolutely love, and I would love to do another Tamiya tank on the show. I didn't build that one, I bought it secondhand, but they're rather expensive. So the M4 Sherman, the big thing about that, which was kit 56048, and that's going to be due out in August 25. They've done a whole kind of new mechanical steering mechanism change. Now, I have no idea versus how it was previously, but I get the feeling that this one, you can actually drive the tank with a trigger controller instead of just using sticks. But from what I could see, it just uses like friction. So when you steer left, it basically locks one side and then the other side carries on. I don't know whether it's a case of this is more resilient or it's stronger. I have no idea. It's not my cup of tea. It does look really cool. They did have a brilliant kind of clear version that had small tracks just to show you. I thought that was really nice on the stand. Also, they bringing out a Leopard 2 A7V, which is 56046, due June 25. Really nice. Again, lovely. Got to be into that kind of stuff to drop that sort of money on it, but they are pretty cool. Now, another one that seemed to get a little bit more kind of presence on the stand was the TRF 104 chassis, Formula One-ish style, 42389. We kind of knew this was going to be coming. This is due June 25, looking at £359. I do like them. I'm a massive Formula One fan. If you've watched the show for a while, you'll know, but I don't know, I've got quite a few like that now, so I'm kind of personally a little bit bored with it. This one looks really cool, loads of blue bling and everything. £359 for that. So honestly, I don't race them. So for me, not something I'm that interested in. I must finish a few other Formula One cars that I've got on the shelf of shame, so no plans to get that one at all. The big one for me personally is the Honda Turbo. Super looking forward to getting one of those on the show. Tempted to get two, one to build and put on the shelf and one to actually drive, but fund wise it doesn't really make much sense, so I'll probably just end up buying one and doing a shelf queen with it. I just want to say sorry if you're getting a lot of shadows and stuff like that in this footage. I don't know until I edit up the video, but one of my studio lights, one of the main ones, took a bit of a dump.
Clover's team, and I didn't realise.
Oh, what was that?
What I love.
Yes, so I can't replace it yet until the end of the month. So I've tried to move lights around to try and stop lots of shadowing, but if you see it in the video, sorry, but you probably won't notice, but I did, because I'm weird like that. Anyway, the Big Wig is getting a reissue, the 2017 one. That's £219. I've actually got a vintage restoration where I've got everything to do a full restoration with all vintage parts, so there's no point me getting that, as I've already got that, and that's been sitting up there for a year or so. Another one, obviously, the Audi 90. That I think is out already. I want the body set for it, and that hasn't dropped yet. That's obviously on a TT02. So again, these are all things we've seen already. The Audi R8 LMS, I'm after the body set for that to put it on my TA07 Pro that I built on the show recently, that's still sitting down there. there, waiting for that body set to drop in the UK. So that will go on to that at some point and be back on the show. So again, yeah, we kind of know all this, and obviously these are on TTO2s, which again is not overly exciting. The Golf GTI 16 valve, lovely body. Again, we'll get the body set. Not interested in it personally, getting it to build it on the show. The Jun Watanabe Hornet is a big one for me personally. That's a really big one. Obviously, I built one because they were getting up to like £1,000 a kit. I wonder who paid £1,100 for it. Now they've got this coming out again. Now, hopefully that's one of the limited edition ones that came with the receipt, so that's going to hold some value, I guess, but that's going to be an expensive half price, maybe. It would go from 1,000 value down to 500. So, yeah, happens to all of us at some point, but that's got to sting a little bit. So just to let you know, I'm doing a totally free raffle for a Jun Watanabe Tamiya. Yeah, you could be in with a chance to win one for absolutely nothing. It's one free ticket per person and you can't buy others, so everyone's going to have the same odds. So I'll put a link in the description. Also, I'll put a fancy dancy barcode up here that you can use your camera phone to go straight to it, but if you Google RCKicks raffles, you will also find it as well. There's two other raffles also running. One is for a Cougar Works new in box. That's a tasty bit of kit. If you want to go vintage racing, that's definitely the one you want to enter. Also for the Team Associated fans, the RC10 Brian Kinwald that's coming out, you can be given the chance to win one of those. So what are you waiting for? Well, the end of the video, obviously. Another one that I'm really interested in, and I probably will end up buying the whole kit anyway, as well as a body set, is the Mini, the MB-01 Mini Sport, £125. So apart from the tanks, nothing of any wow. So again, we're going to be going all the way up to sort of August time before we get any new announcements for anything that could potentially be a really good vintage re-release for Christmas. Some people are commenting that maybe this is they're holding all their things back for next year, as that's going to be their big anniversary year. So they're going to take that budget for any vintage re-releases and put it into that. Everyone's saying maybe it'd be perfect time to do the Porsche 959, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, at this point, I hope so, but I don't know whether we're giving Tamiya more credit than due on this front, but hopefully there's going to be some big kits, as a lot of people are waiting for something to really get their teeth into from the vintage scene, whether that's a racing TRF buggy, whether that's a vintage kit like a King Cab or the Madcap, or, you know, all of the ones we've already covered a million times already. Hopefully they finally listen, but honestly, don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's from Tamiya. So not a great deal. Their stand looked, you know, what you'd expect normally. Looks really nice and everything, just very lackluster on that front. The Kyosho side of it, again, this show you don't really see a lot of stuff that we don't know already. They did drop a motorbike, the name of this bike is ridiculously long. Hang On Racer SRT Suzuki RGV 1992, and that's 169, and that's a 1/8. Why did they do this? That's a very strange one. Obviously, they've got their other version that's been out for donkey's years. Is this because they're seeing so much of the Lucy motorbike? But then they're very different. One with all the gyros in it. So whether they think that there's a big push for that, bikes, RCs, I don't know. This may, to me, as I'm totally guessing, is that it's to do with Japan, and if there's like a racing series for the bikes in Japan or something. But a strange one. Very nice. I'm desperate to build my one, but obviously I've got to buy all the electronics for it, so it's kind of sitting new in box at the moment. But something very different I'd like to do at some point on the show. Apart from that, we got to see the Toms. We got to see it driving around, and when's that due? That's £429, same in dollars. All these figures, just convert them to dollars to pounds. July 25th is when it's coming, so obviously definitely getting one of those. So putting the money aside to buy that for the show. What else have we got going on? We've got Traxxas dropped the XRT VXL 3S. Now, I've just had the Mini Max on the show, and I really liked it. Got absolutely slated, because if you throw big power into it, it hasn't got a center diff in it, and you just blow diffs and all kinds of stuff. You can't just throw 3S into it and go and bash the living daylights out of it. You've got to kind of drive it as it is. But what they've actually done, and to give Traxxas credit, the XRT VXL has all the nice upgrades to take the 3S, and obviously they've gone and then put the 3S in it. That kind of kills the Minimax, because why would you go that way when you buy the XRT? Unless you really hate the look of it, it's got way more of the upgrades in it for the difference in price. I can't take my Minimax and spend that level of money and get the same. So they've kind of, until they do a revision of it, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. So if you've got one, you're better off just leaving it alone or selling it on, but then you're going to take and then buying the XRT, or just putting up with it as it is, and just enjoy it as it is. The problem you got in the UK, a VXL 3S is £369. And I had a quick look around at what else you can buy from Traxxas, and you can get a Slash four-wheel drive VXL 3S for £409. That's like £39 more. You've really got to like that small size to say you would rather have a Mini XRT than a Slash four-wheel drive 3S. Not only that, you can also get a Traxxas Stampede 4x4 VXL, which is 3S, and that's £60 more than the VXL. So why would you go for those? Apart from the size, wouldn't you rather have a four-wheel drive Slash? Wouldn't you rather have a Stampede? I don't know. Comment below. Let me know what you think on that. I think that could be a bit of a hard sell. So the advice would be, if you want to buy a Minimax for £279, don't get the XRT, as you've got all the upgrades for a lot less money than if you tried to upgrade a Minimax. And then don't buy the VXL, go and buy a Slash four-wheel drive VXL. Obviously buy whatever you like, but when you put your Logic hat on it, unless you're really looking for something to put in your backpack and you're traveling all the time, which can't be a lot of people, because most people would just get their car, drive to where they're going, or they go in their back garden and they just drive it. Maybe if you've got a smaller back garden, and a 1/10 is probably too much for a smaller garden, to the point, or whether you're going to get in the car and drive to the park, well then a Slash is going to be better. And some, a slightly bigger RC is going to be able to deal with rougher terrain. So I don't know, comment below. Also, we've got the Team Associated have just done a final announcement. We've known this one's coming for quite a while, but it was just released yesterday, I think it was. The RC10 Graphite, which is going to be £425. A lot of people are rumbling about, obviously it doesn't come with a stealth transmission, so that put a few people off. But then there's lots of people that and whinge about things that are not the same as the vintage ones anyway, so they're damned if they are, damned if they don't. So personally, whether it'll actually be a big seller for them, I don't know, because obviously you had the Fan RC one was out for a long time, and that came with the stealth transmission, and that one was kind of perfect if you were going to go racing. So have they all sold all those, and now this one's coming out into a market full of RC10s? Have they now finally hit the saturation point? And just as Team Associated are dropping the RC10 Graphite, Fan RC did an announcement that are actually discontinuing their version. So that's interesting. Now, a lot of people say that Team Associated are bringing out their cars really quickly. Did they drop this one early because of them losing unit sales to Fan RC? So they decided to bring this one out faster. Kind of makes sense from a business point of view, that you're better off releasing an original and getting those unit sales than letting a competitor have them. And then it kind of makes sense for Fan RC to go, okay, well, now that's out. They've done a lot of their sales over the last, I don't know how long it's been out for. So now they're going to move on to other projects. And I do hear a few rumors of some really good projects that are coming. One in particular that really ticks my boxes, and I hope it's true. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I've got no official announcement to make from it, and I've only heard from different places, so I'm just going to wait and see on that one, as I could be totally wrong. But if what I'm being told is correct, we could be seeing some really fantastic stuff from Fan RC soon. The Brian Kinwald is due on the 1st of June, and the 1st of August is the Graphite. So they're really close now, and a lot of people are commenting that it's too close together. So are they now just saturated all their customers, and the customers that have bought some, It'd be interesting to see whether people are just going to go, oh, I'm going to buy the Brian Kinwald, or I'm going to get the graphite, or they're holding out for the Masami one. That's another. I've seen a few people commenting about that as well. So I don't know. We'll just have to see on this front. Obviously, I'm not going to get the graphite. There's no point. I've got a vintage one. But I have bought a Brian Kinwald. So that will be on the show. I love the look of it. And obviously, it would go perfectly with this one. This is my World's car, so to have it done up like this, and then I'll do box art for the Brian Kinwald one, so having the two is quite nice. So for me, so far, the big standout ones are the Toms, obviously coming from Kyosho, the Brian Kinwald RC10. After that, for me, I'm obviously starting to look at doing a few more sort of ready-to-runs as well. I've just bought another Hero ready-to-run that I've been looking for. Last month, I managed to get my UDR, and that was what I've been after for a long time. This is the second one on my radar that I've been after for a long time. So I've taken a lot of my funds from potentially doing more of those kind of kits, and then put them into these more rarer and more expensive RTRs. Something a little bit different. This, I managed to buy this from Andy Robinson, and it came with this body on it. And if you've been watching the show for a while, you'll know that I wanted to get a new body for this. But in the UK, they didn't have any bodies. Well, anyway, after pulling a few strings and way more complicated than you think, I finally, in the UK, have a body set. So I now have the body set for it. So this was going to be on the show quite recently. And then my plan was to paint it up as a new body, as this one's got some cracks on it. Also, these are slightly too large, and to paint it up more like box art, or I was going to do the mellow yellow kind of a Days of Thunder body set on it, as I've got the decals for it. So finally, after however long it was, I actually have a body set in the UK for it. Have you noticed one problem with this? Comes with the window masks, doesn't come with any decals. A body set with no decals. That's bad enough. The problem is there is no decals in the country. So what am I supposed to do? They've imported them with this, but there's no decals in the bag. Yet they're separate. So that's brilliant. Now, it isn't too much of a problem as I have the decals for all the livery, but things like the lights, the grille, the windows, and the rear lights, that's an issue. Now, I could make some of them. I could do the window surrounds. I could buy some tape and stuff like that and so I can kind of make it work, but I need these headlights, and I need the rear lights, and those you can't really make. So after all that work, I'm kindly stuck at the moment deciding what I'm going to do. Not only that, but Team Associated only posted on Facebook about 2 or 3 days ago an RC10 DS with an RC10 gold pan body on it. And I really liked it. It looks wicked. So after going through all this and still having the issue of not having the decals to do another DS body, now I want to pivot and do an RC10 body for it. You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Sorry about that rant at the end, but I've been waiting months to try and do this one.